true believers, and welcome to episode 15 of the Mighty Marvel Mayhem Show. I'm your host, Kevyn Knox. And as always, if you like what you see, click on the thumbs up. And if you're new here, click on subscribe. Okay, let's get going. Last episode, we looked at Avengers number 1 and the 5 original Avengers. Well, in this episode, we're going to take a look at all the Avengers, all 189 of them. Well, okay, we're probably not going to look at all 189 of them. Living Lightning is probably not going to come up other than right now. But we're going to look at a lot of them as I count down my 10 favorite Avengers of all time. Okay, now before we start the countdown, I'd like to omit a few Avengers. Avengers that were only Avengers for short periods of time and are more famous for other things they did. Characters like Doctor Strange. That's right, he was an Avenger. Or Daredevil. He was an Avenger too. Or Iron Fist. He was an Avenger too. Even Conan the Barbarian was an Avenger at one point. You also have characters like Luke Cage, who is a character for a little longer period of time, but still he's more famous for being Power Man or Luke Cage and that kind of thing. There's also younger Avengers like Kamala Khan's Ms. Marvel or Miles Morales' Spider-Man. Both Avengers, but only for short periods of time, so they really shouldn't count here. Now there's two other ones I want to omit. They are Wolverine and Spider-Man. Now they come and go as Avengers. Whenever they're needed, they come back and they help out. But really, they're more known for other things. I mean, they're both members of the Fantastic Four too, but you don't see me in a countdown with them there. And by the way, that reminds me, Fantastic Four, all of them at one time or another have been Avengers, but they're not on this list either. And speaking of Wolverine, you also have other X-Men that were members like Storm or Rogue or Havoc, but they don't count either. They're more famous for being X-Men. So, now that we have that all taken care of, let's get to the countdown proper. And let's start with, of course, number 10. Okay. It's number 10 and I'm already cheating. See, I couldn't narrow this down to less than 11 Avengers. So number 10 is actually a tie. Number 10 is Wonder Man and the Beast. Yes, I know. The Beast is a member of the X-Men, one of the original members of the X-Men, and a current member of the X-Men, but I couldn't omit him because he was an integral part of the team back in the late 70s and early 80s when I started reading Avengers comics. It's kind of a nostalgia thing. And then put him together with Wonder Man, who started out as a villain in the early days of the Avengers, and you got the best duo ever. BFFs forever. That's right. Now, as somber superheroes like Thor or Vision or Captain America were fighting about, these two were cracking wise in the background. I mean, yeah, they are great Avengers, great superheroes and all that stuff, but they were more of the comic relief. BFFs forever. And I don't care what people say about Wonder Man's outfit, it was the perfect early 80s superhero garb. Now I wonder, did these two ever become more than just BFFs? Guess we'll never know. Okay, on to number 9. Number 9 is Captain Marvel. No, not that Captain Marvel. No, not that Captain Marvel either. No, this is not Marvel, the original Kree warrior, nor is it Carol Danvers, who is Ms. Marvel and now is Captain Marvel. No, this is Monica Rambeau, the second person to use the moniker of Captain Marvel. She was a superhero and an Avenger back in the 80s, again, the nostalgia thing. She was team leader for a while. She almost died trying to save the Avengers. And, since then, she really hasn't been in the comics that much. She pops up every once in a while. She was Pulsar for a while. She was Photon for a while. Currently, she's Spectrum. She should be in the comics more often. And I think she will be soon because she's about to be in the MCU. Now, technically, she's already been in the MCU as a little girl in Captain Marvel, which was set in 1992. But the new Captain Marvel 2, which I'm guessing is set nowadays, we're probably going to see an adult Monica Rambeau as most likely Spectrum. At least I hope so. Okay, number 8. Number 8 is the mighty Thor, God of Thunder, Lord of Asgard. Now, who wouldn't want Thor on their team? I mean, he's Thor for crying out loud. But he would be a little higher up if he didn't always go flitting back to Asgard every time Odin broke a nail or Loki had a hissy fit. But when he was there, he was on it. Okay, number 7, the Black Panther. The Black Panther, T'Challa, was created way back in 1966 by Jack Kirby and Stan Lee for Fantastic Four number 52. Shortly after that, he met up with Captain America. They became the best of friends, and Cap made him an Avenger. And he's still an Avenger to this day. In fact, currently, he's the team leader. Okay. And I would like to take this time to give a shout out to Chadwick Boseman. Great actor, gone way too soon. Wakanda forever. Okay, number 6. Number 6 is the Wasp, the wonderful, winsome Wasp, one of the other 3 original members on this countdown, along with Thor, and another upcoming one. Now, when Wasp first started out, she was sort of just the pretty little sidekick for Ant-Man, but eventually she became one of the greatest Avengers, and she was a great team leader. In fact, she was the leader of the team more than any other character other than Captain America. And she survived the marriage with Hank Pym. You gotta love her for that. Okay, number 5, Iron Man, the other original member on this countdown. Now, Iron Man is a great hero, and Tony Stark is a great character. Yeah, he can be a dick. He caused the Civil War, and he's sort of to blame for the Skrull invasion happening, but you know, he's still Iron Man, so he belongs on this countdown. It brings us to number 4. Number 4 is the Vision. The Vision started out as an android created by the evil android Ultron to infiltrate and destroy the Avengers, but instead he sided with the Avengers and helped battle Ultron and became an Avenger in good standing. Was even team leader for a while. Now, as an android, he's fighting with having emotions, but you know, he has emotions because, you know, sometimes even an android can cry. But he does have emotions because he proves that by falling in love with, marrying, and having children with number 3 on our list. And who is that? The Scarlet Witch, of course. Now, the Scarlet Witch, along with her brother Quicksilver, started out as a villain, as one of Magneto's Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. She eventually became an Avenger and became a great Avenger. Now, yeah, there was the whole thing with the marriage to the Vision, and her children may have been a mass hallucination. Who knows? And then she did drop in the evilness every once in a while, and there's that whole nasty thing of her pretty much eradicating the mutant population with 3 little words. But still, she's a Scarlet Witch, so she belongs on here. Brings us to number 2, and number 2 is Hawkeye. I love that guy. The very first Avengers comic I ever read was him busting through the door. Now, I'm not a fan of what the MCU has done to him. Jeremy Renner is a great actor and all, nothing against him. But they took a character who, as Scarlet Witch, started out as a criminal and then became an Avenger, butted heads with Captain America, but really worshipped the guy and wanted to be like him. And he was like a wisecracking, arrogant, but really good and loyal superhero and Avenger. He even created the West Coast Avengers. Much cooler in the comics than in the movies. So that brings us to number 1. But first, I said I couldn't narrow it down to less than 11. Well, there's some runners-up I want to throw in there, too. You have the aforementioned Quicksilver. Kind of a dick, but a great Avenger. You have Spider-Woman. You have Jack of Hearts. You have Moondragon. You have Jocasta, the Bride of Ultron. She's pretty cool. Never officially a member, but still. You have Hellcat, Patsy Walker, who's an Avenger, and she was also a Defender, and she wasn't shown enough. She should be in the comics more. She's a great character. I hope to see her in the comics soon again. Then you have the Black Knight. Now, I'm not talking about the bad guy that was in Baron Zemo's Masters of Evil. I'm talking about his nephew, Dane Whitman. He was a great Avenger. Plus, he was a knight. And he had that big winged horse. That's cool. Then you have She-Hulk, the sensational She-Hulk. Much cooler than her cousin Bruce. And she was breaking the 4th wall decades before Deadpool ever thought about doing it. And then you have Star Fox. Now, Star Fox, okay, his brother's Thanos, which is not, but it's not his fault his brother's Thanos. And his ability to make anyone desire him sexually comes in good in a battle, right? Right? I don't know. It worked for She-Hulk, though. But anywho, I also want to mention Hank Pym. Good old Hank Pym. Ant-Man, Giant Man, Goliath, Yellow Jacket, good old Hank Pym. Okay, he was batshit crazy, he had personality disorders, he created Ultron, he beat his wife, but still, he's one of the original members and should be mentioned. I guess I should mention the Hulk too, huh? Yeah. Now we got all the original members. And now up to number 1. Oh, wait. I forgot one. He was never an official Avenger, but Jarvis. That's right, Jarvis. The stalwart butler of Avengers Mansion. In between him getting kidnapped by supervillains, or mind controlled by supervillains, or beat up by supervillains, or kidnapped by supervillains again. He kept that Avengers mansion impeccably clean, which is a big feat for, it was destroyed every other month, it seemed. So, that's enough of that. Go on to number one. I think number one should be an obvious choice here, right? Obviously, number one, the greatest Avenger of all time is Demolition Man. That's right. Demolition Man. When you want a superhero, when you want a great Avenger, you look at D-Man. You're not buying this, are you? No, I didn't think you'd buy that. Of course Demolition Man isn't the greatest Avenger. He'd be there with, like, Triathlon and Living Lightning. Hey, look, I did mention that guy again. No, obviously the number one is the most obvious choice, Captain America. That's right, the Sentinel of Liberty. Even Iron Man himself, via Robert Downey Jr. in the first Avengers movie, said he was a living legend that actually lived up to the legend. And that Avengers Assemble war cry. I mean, how could he not be number one on this list? Much better than Demolition Man. So, there you go. My favorite Avengers. And we're going to have more top 10 and top 5 lists as episodes progress, because they're fun, aren't they? You had fun here, right? Next episode, we're going to take a look at more of the early adventures of the Fantastic Four. For right now, though, I'd like to thank you for watching this episode. And as always, thumbs up, comment away. If you don't already subscribe to the Mighty Marvel Mayhem Show, click on subscribe. Tell all your friends, the more the merrier. That's it, gang. See you in the funny pages.